This is episode 2 of Cult Confessionals, the Cult of Media interview podcast. Today I am joined by
Frank Burke.
Frank, you are the president of Musicians United at SIU.
Correct.
So how did you come by the position that you have for MU?
Oh God. So this kind of fell into my lap, for lack of a better term, in that I was in the club for just a year or so, and it was the year that COVID shut everything down the second time. So that fall semester, I'm just a normal schmuck in the club. Couldn't play an instrument really. Never sang in front of anyone, just some guy. But I think what they noticed was that I would show up to the practices and then I wouldn't leave. And so while everyone else is all right, my songs are done, I'm going to take off, guys. I stuck around and I helped clean up. And I think they saw that my duty as like MU's maid as more of a thing, like this guy can take on some responsibility. And then I immediately got promoted to vice president the next semester.
Nice. So,
and then the following semester, I was president.
Talking about MU practices, what is MU like the program doing? What are y'all looking to do?
It is a group of SIU independent musicians that come together to collectively play the music that we love on a rotating cast. Which is a fancy way of saying it's like a bunch of people come together. We play songs. Each song will have like 5 spots. We're a group of 25 members right now. And so on some songs, you'd be like a singer. And then on some songs, you'll be a guitarist. Yeah. And on the majority of the songs, you won't even be on them. Yeah. But like you get to see all your other peers be on the songs, play, rock out, absolutely kill it. It's a really good way to give people that rock star experience. Like if you got your first guitar back in the day and you're like, man, I could really be Blink-182 if I wanted to, but like all I need is a drummer and a bassist and a singer. Like that's what MU's for. It's we give you those resources.
Yeah, fill in all the missing pieces.
Yeah, live out that rock star dream.
I know that last semester y'all kind of crescendoed out by doing a show at Hangar. Is that like a common theme that y'all continue?
As far as my tenure has gone in MU, Hangar has been the staple, is what it is. Hangar has been very good to us, and we schedule a semester end show over at Hangar. We usually do a 4-hour set list.
Wow.
And it's about 40 songs usually. Yeah. And we spend the entire semester practicing for that show pretty much. The way that Hangar kind of fell into MU's lap was, it wasn't even word of mouth. It was us knowing a friend who got a job as the booking manager at Hangar. Jack McCarthy was his name. Shout out Jack. I know you'll never listen to this, but love you, Jack. But
we can make sure he sees it.
I'll shoot him a text after this. But
the cult has its ways.
But before that, we would play, and I say we loosely because I wasn't in the group. This is 5-6 years ago or so. Wow. But they would play like fraternity houses. I remember they played at Vegan Joint over there by Tres Hombres. They played a few shows over there, I remember. Can't remember it for the life of me right now, but moving on. And then just like any little gigs, like acoustic shows here and there. Not really too much to have something to fall back on, really. Like just kind of like, we got a gig. Like really slumming it in like the this is what the rock star experience is. Like we don't have a guaranteed gig. We probably aren't getting paid. And it's been just an absolute blessing that Hangar 9 has kind of taken us under our wing, or under their wing, because it's the best bar in town.
That's really great that y'all have the ability to go and have that show towards the end of the semester. In a more aspect about you yourself, have you always done music, or like from what age you pick up?
Oh, absolutely not. No.
No?
I was a car karaoke master, and from the age of 6 or 7, my mom still listens to the XM radio with all the Disney songs on it. And she always sends me like pictures of like the songs that I used to sing in the back of the car when I was like 2 or 3 years old, but never took that to any stage ever. But I kept it going throughout my whole life. Any song that I liked, I'd scream at the top of my lungs when I'm driving down 55 or whatever. Then I didn't start playing guitar until I think it was 2018, I believe. So I've only been playing, I mean, hell, that's still 5 years from now. Good Lord, I'm thinking 2. But it's, then that year that I started playing guitar was the same year that I joined MU, and that was the first time that I ever sang in front of everyone. It's a funny story. It actually stems into my least favorite song of all time. In the beginning practice, we try to give couple songs for new members to like learn, to be like, all right, this is the first practice, come and jam out if you want to learn these songs, like a couple cowboy chord songs, maybe like 3 or 4 power chords. It was Damn It by Blink 182 and it's got that dumb time signature on it. It's all right to tell me what you think. And I go up there, and this is my first time in front of anyone. I know 6 people in this room out of like 13 or so.
Yeah.
And I sing this song, and I felt like I butchered this song. And I sit back down, and I'm thinking to myself, I am gonna leave. I'm never coming back. This is awful. It was all fine in the end.
Yeah.
Came back the next practice, and no one cared.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
There's a little motivation for anyone out there trying to go forward with something that they think they can pick up.
MU just keeps the basis of everyone's trying to learn.
Yeah.
Generally. Okay. That's great. So continuing as you as an artist, are there any projects that you've been working on lately? Do you possibly write music yourself or anything?
Shout out to all the wonderful musicians out there. I have tried writing music.
Yeah.
Good Lord, what a pain. Like, it is so hard, like sitting down and staying focused enough to actually write something, let alone make it sound good.
Yeah.
Like there's interviews with like Foo Fighters Dave Grohl and like just dozens of different artists on how they do their songwriting, like just their entire technique for it. And like there's you get your song and then you just hum along the words and you fill in the words, or no, you got to write the words first and then write the song around it. None of it works for me. Like I am absolutely blind, illiterate, if you will, when it comes to writing music. And I try to play at least 2 hours a day, and nothing ever comes out that sounds good. So.
Is there anything else that you just generally look to make Musicians United or apart from it?
See, I've always been dogged for it. Dean, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. Dean of Algelda, Richard Kelly. He's always told me, he's like, you guys have a lot of potential here to do more than just cover songs. And which is what MU focuses on and has focused on for, as far as I know, the entirety of its existence. But he says, you've got all these great minds in here, and we do. Consistently, every semester, I'm blown away by just our complete and utter talent that we have with our members. And he says, you guys should, like, write your own music. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And then, like, talk to some of the other officers and like what Dr. Kelly said. I'm like, he wants us to write our own music. And they're like, yeah, whatever. Go tell him to kick rocks. But like, the farther I get on in the tenure of MU, the more mundane the role gets, in that I feel like we keep doing the same thing. So I would love to be able to expand into writing originals and having members have more large voice in deciding the direction that the group would like to go.
Is there anything that you can think of that like pushes you, drives you to create, or just to really, in your case, play and just to get together and do all this?
The absolute joy of just being in that room is it's unparalleled. It's the two happiest parts of my entire week. And I could be having the doggiest worst day, but as soon as I get in those doors, I start shit talking with the other officers while we're setting up, go through a meeting, and then just talk with some of the personalities that we got in the room there, and like whatever happened during the day is just gone out the window. It just doesn't matter anymore, because it's like it's another day of practice, and yeah, we have our bad days, and like sometimes practices piss me off, and like it's like, oh, I'm tired today, but like something, it never fails. I am like keeled over laughing, eyes clenched closed laughing at something every single time, and it never fails to just put me in a great mood that either lasts the rest of the night, or at the very least just be like, it wasn't all that bad today.
So you're just glad to have the space and have the people.
Oh my God,
there.
beyond appreciative. We used to practice here in the communications building, and we would have to schedule our room. It was on the soundstage, and we would be in like dukes with other other RSOs and other professors on whether we would have that room on our days.
Yeah.
And our space at Alt Geld is absolutely fantastic. The Dean, Richard Kelly, has done absolute numbers for us in terms of me specifically, and just taking like a weight off my shoulders on not having to worry about one more thing, and do we have a place to do this thing that we do.
Think about SIU wise, what would you say your classes are like?
Oh, my classes? I'm a mechanical engineering student, so it's my time here at SIU says something for the work involved. I have not been the greatest student at times, and so all our professors are fantastic. I spend a lot of time in the physics department and the engineering building. I can't even name like a professor that I'm like, don't take their classes in either of those fields. Like, of course, my gen eds, there's ones where I'm like, yeah, I'd avoid that one. But other than that, it just comes down to SIU is the only school I would want to graduate from. That's and cool. it has been for years.
It's really great that you can still have the space to like do music work while you're not like confined being an art major to be an MU.
Oh God, I know. And like there's some restrictions, like if you want to use the practice rooms that would really come in handy for some of our drummers that aren't in the field, you need to be a music student. Yeah. But like in other cases, like they've just gone above and beyond, and it's just all thanks to the perfect culture of the school and how everything kind of melds together, and like everyone's out to scratch each other's back.
Just thinking about your time in MU, and I mean, clearly you've been there a lot, and you've been able to do a lot with them. Do you have any just like standout moments from the time, just like that really made you glad to be a part of it?
Like I was saying, we've had so many unbelievable personalities that are in the club, and just like the laughter, the camaraderie that everyone has the potential to have, like when all those things start melding together, they're absolutely next level. I guess for the broad sense, then I'll go into the more specific one. Every time we play at Hangar, it's like our practice schedule is you practice 2 times a week. It's about 10 songs a day. And then you go home, you practice your songs, come back next week, do a new set of songs. And then the week before the show, we do either 1 or 2 dress rehearsals where we play all the songs, and then we play the show that weekend. And everyone is so stressed the entire time. And I do my absolute best to keep everyone level-headed. It doesn't work like I like to try and think I'm a people person, but people say I come off a little prickly sometimes, and I don't use the correct words a lot of the time, but to convey what I'm trying to put out. But the look of relief on everyone's face once they play their first song at that show, it's just like practice. This isn't hard at all. Yeah. Like you're standing 4 feet above everyone else. You see faces and shoulders pretty much. Yeah. And other than that, it is just what we've been doing all semester. And once they have that soothing realization that this isn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be, then everyone kind of falls into place with it, and they really learn to let loose and become the musicians that I always tried to tell them they were. And not to take credit for that, guys, but like I was saying, the specific points that I think about in a standout moment was this is spring of 2022, and we were doing a song. We were playing our hangar show, and we were doing a song called I believe it was Mr. Magic. And it was the song was suggested by a MU alumni named Paraji Cannon. Paraji transferred, but we miss you, P. But the song always sounded fantastic. Like, Paraji is a saxophone player, and he was really taking lead on this, and he's just making everything sound so smooth, so creamy the entire time. It's such a funky, lighthearted, jazzy, but at the same time sort of like complex song. And I remember we had this song, we usually do like for our 4-hour shows, we have 2 intermissions, so like hockey where there's 3 sets and we take 15-minute breaks in between. This is in the second set, and it is almost at the exact halfway point in the show. And I remember they're playing Mr. Magic, and I remember at one point, Paraji looks behind him to our drummer, Dan, and he says something to him, and Dan, like, nods his head. And then Paraji just goes ballistic on the saxophone and just goes completely off the script, and everyone is going wild. Like, it is the crazy, like, I'm going wild. None of us have ever heard this. And like, everyone, like, of course you have the 20 other members there in the club, in the crowd, but then we also have everyone else in the club. I remember that night, like, they were fucking packed there at Hangar, and everyone is there at the stage watching Paraji shred the saxophone. And the song ends, and people are throwing things, they're going wild, everyone's jumping around. Paraji comes off the stage. I'm like, what in the hell was that? He's like, I just did my thing, man. I'm like, we still got a half a show to play. You can't peak us this soon. We still got more songs. That's the encore, baby. What are you doing to me? And I asked Dan about it, and I was like, what did he say to you? And he just goes, he looked at me and just said, follow me. And I think about that moment a lot, I'd say. That was the ideal, like, really becoming the musician that comes to mind right off the bat.
Is there any advice you'd want to give to musicians that are not yet musicians, I would say? People that haven't picked up a guitar or feel like they can't sing.
Oh man, it is absolutely never too late to start. I work at a guitar shop, and I have people coming in who are 60 plus years old wanting to buy their first instrument, and it's the absolute best time in history to learn an instrument right now, because the internet has so many resources and it's all free. I am self-taught, and I say that because I didn't have a teacher, but my teacher was Marty Music on YouTube. It is so easy to learn just guitar, bass, drums, vocals, saxophone, flute, anything. If you've always wanted to play an instrument, do it. Like, if instruments and music, it can be an expensive hobby, but you can do it on a budget. It's so easy to find an instrument that is well within your price range and just get started. And then if it's not for you, you're not that big in the hole for it. But if it is, then that entire window of opportunity on top of, I can get this next instrument that's really nice, it'll be easier to play than this one, or I might be able to play this. What all that translates to is, I have a new hobby. And that's what I think a lot of people these days are missing, is having a hobby. Because a lot of people I ask, I'm like, what do you do in your free time? I watch Netflix. That's, well, it can be, but like, what do you do when all the TV shows are done? What do you do when you've exhausted all your other things? What can you find that you can always go to and you can just lose yourself in? And for me and countless others that I know personally, I can say it's picking up an instrument and being able to play.
Frank, thank you so much for being on Cult Confessionals.
No,
man.
of course. I got so excited hearing about someone wanted to talk to me. I was like, oh, well, big time over here.
Oh.
Like, about the club. I'm like, oh, yeah, that too.
All right.
No, it was an absolute pleasure being here. Cold Confessions is going to be a huge thing if this is the format that you guys are starting with. I can see a lot of great potential in this.
All right. Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right. So this has been episode 2 of Cult Confessionals. This will start to become a bi-weekly show that will be putting out, bi-weekly. So, all right. Thank you for anyone who's listening, and love you. Bye.